We just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without this. Please watch the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, it's me again, and there we are. It's tomorrow night's show tonight, because I'll be doing Operation Paperclip tomorrow and a little bit of Jack the Ripper tomorrow night, if you'll join me for that. But anyway, tonight's all about current affairs, what's going on. It's about bullying, and who does the bullying? One guess. Who's the country that bullies everyone else or tries to bully everyone else? And that's what you've got to look at today. Ooh. Excuse me. So I'll give you one guess. One guess I'll give you. Who's the big bully? Goes around to the countries. We'll be going into that in a moment or two. And also, Simon, he says, "Hi Frank, I've been reading the Japanese Consul by the Liverpool Historical Society. In my humble opinion, your chap would enjoy the rich culture that was generated as a result." Yeah, the Japanese, they had... I always remember, though, I was given out a lecture about the Japanese and the whaling, you know, when they came up, to say about the whaling. That was generated here by a fellow American. He came over, and Daniel Brocklebank. And Daniel Brocklebank, he came over in 1774. That was the year of the signing of the American independence. 2 years later, a war followed, as you know. So he started off a whaling company here, and he had these Norwegians, because they were whalers themselves, and because no one knew here how to go about whaling, so he sent for them. And obviously Liverpool lads went on board, you know, because it was work to them. So the Japanese sent over you know, their lads to see how the Norwegians performed catching the whales and what kind of whales they had as well. So a little community sprung up. I think that was around Guild Street here in Liverpool, just off London Road. And that's where they stayed. Then they started staying around by the Pierhead. Then they just disappeared. They just disappeared to the Japanese. Yeah, it's very interesting. Well, it carries on by saying, I won't say too much, but I think they would enjoy the impact of James Lord Bowes, Streatham Tower, Conso Yashida, aka Paddy Murphy, and Little Tokyo, located in Watersley, area. Enjoy your show. But as I said, I was giving this lecture once, and and there was this woman, and she said there was never a Japanese community here. I said there was. She said no, there wasn't. And I thought so. I said okay, there wasn't then. That's fine. But I went on about it anyway, and she was shaking her head. And at the end of the lecture, she came up to me and she said, "We didn't have one." I said, how do you know we never had one?" And she said, "Well, I've never seen a Japanese around here." And that tells you something about people who, I don't know, it's annoying really, but I couldn't say too much, I just said, okay, yeah. It's because she never seen any. But she's spoiling the lecture right through. It's like when I was asked to bring people around from Hampshire, of all places. So I said, yes, sure. And anyway, I was bringing them around, and this lady, all she kept saying was, it was like the first, dock system, for example, first railway system, for example. Everything I was saying, she was saying, surely not, it was London. Surely not, it was London. Couldn't believe it, and I had to correct her all the time. But you get people like that. You get people like that. And she put a complaint in about me. She said, nothing at all about London. That's what she said. He never mentioned London. And I thought, I'm not doing that anymore. So I stopped going to this particular place. It was over in Hoylake or something. I forget where it was. Somewhere over there anyway. So I just said, listen, don't send for me anymore. Don't want to do it. Getting people like that. But I have come across them. Surely not London. So London, ladies and gentlemen, started the very first passenger railway system in the world. The first dock system in the world. The first of everything in the world. Liverpool achieved nothing. Callum, Newcastle have signed a striker finally. Isak soon to come. Yeah, well, it was on the cards. We haven't done it yet anyway, he isn't here. But I'm doing a watch along on Sunday. You want to come in? But if anyone's listening in, every time I go on live television, because that's what I am. I like going on live, debates and things. And for some reason, I can't get on the live. It's just like a couple of seconds it goes off. Because I went on to see, the European Cup draw, Champions League Cup draw. And so I don't know. So if you know who we got, let me know, please, in the comments. That's all just done. Christopher. Real Madrid into Milan. Yeah. Atletico, Eintracht Frankfurt, PSV, Marseille, and Galatasaray. Is that us? We're not in that, are we? Says Christopher. Hey, Callum. I think Callum's gone. Oh, no, there he is. Trent will get booed by many if he plays in the Madrid game at home. Oh, so we've got them, have we? Blimey, that's our group, that. Very hard. But we'll have to shore up our defence first, I'm afraid. We'll have to shore up them. Just bear with me, the producer's on, and he's getting me up something, which is very important, by the way. Thank you, Jason. He's put it up for me, which he'll be putting up a little bit later on. Excuse me. I'm back in my room. I'm back in my room. The proper room. For all these conspiracy theories and current affairs. Thank you, Jason. Thank you so much. He's just got in from work, you know. And he does all this for me. I haven't a clue. Useless. Absolutely useless. So we'll go through what you're just saying. I can't get over. Can I just go back to what we do? I'm awfully sorry, people. Because this isn't a football show. But, you know, Real Madrid, Inter, Atletico, Eintracht, Frankfurt, PSV, Marseille, and Galatasaray. Arabag. Is that Arabag? Yeah. Quarabag. I don't know. That's a very hard draw, that. Evening, Frank and chat, says Edward. Johan. Good evening, Frank and legends in the chat. Hope everyone is well. Go on, bring the banter. I won't be grim about it. I watched this today. But who was watching was that Mark Goldridge. You know, with his watch along, you know, the little snippet of that. So funny, him. So funny. Never mind, you know, the Man United fans will be saying that it's only a Mickey Mouse Cup, as they say. And we'd say it as well if we went out of it. Toscana, ciao Franco, hello everyone. Is it Liverpool's birthday today? Founded in 1207. August, yeah. 28th of August. Certainly is. Certainly is. We had a big celebration when we were 800 in 1207. 1207. Our 800th birthday. It's quite good, actually. It's not bad, like. I'll have to put my glasses on. I can't see these bloody things. Excuse me. Can see. Eureka. I don't know what that is. Sorry, Johan. I'll answer it out to me, mate. Good evening, my dear friends and beautiful chat family. Have a great one. I wonder if there's any Bushmills for me there. Little pockets of Bushmills. I just want to answer this sense of cracking quote through from Erasmus. Let me get it. Let me get it. I think he has anyway. Don't know where it is. Yes, it is. This is it. And it's by Erasmus. And he says, the less talent they have, the more pride, vanity, and arrogance they have. All these fools, however, find other fools who applaud them. And that's absolutely true. And that goes back to 1509 when he said that. It's incredible, isn't it? Incredible. And we do. We vote fools in, and we go along with them. I just want to show you something. No, I'll go through these first. And I really need to show you something. Just add an error message on comments, says Christopher. And we have a new fellow here. Greetings from Split, Croatia. You'll never walk alone. Red. Antonio Rashish. Suppose I've pronounced that wrong. But welcome, Antonio. And obviously, hashtag you'll never walk alone. Croatian lad. And Lee Brady. Excuse me. Lee Brady. All right, Frank, do you think we have got deals agreed? I've read a few times that they have, but won't be announced yet. Nothing sure. Why not like? The thing is, you see, I've been saying this for a long time. For weeks, you've been getting the same. And I'm talking about podcasts and lots of assumptions, lots of innuendo, lots of everything about Isak and Gui, whatever his bloody name is. Guy he is. Anyway, and we've been. I said, Jason said to me, "Do you want a football show?" No, because I'm only repeating. I'll only be repeating everything that other pods have been regurgitating. And I don't read off, the pundits, what the papers are saying, because they've already, the people who are saying it to the viewers have already read them, and on the pods as well. So I just said, no, Jason, I don't want to do a football show. The only time I'll do one is when everything is concrete, just like what you said there, Lee, when it's concrete. When you say, we've always said all along, even yourself, the only time I believe anything is when the lads, whoever it is sitting up at the Accent training ground, signing a contract and holding up a red shirt with his name on. That's the only time I believe it. Because how many times have we gone after people, and I've said it's been, we won't get them. No, we could. I said about I'm sorry about this, but I said about Incapi. I wanted Incapi here. Incapi's a fantastic left back, and he can play as well left-sided centre-back. And he was going for 50 million or so. Why didn't we buy him? Why didn't we buy him? I wanted Kvaratskhelia, didn't I? We could have had him for 58 million. Edward. Big up, Antonio. And this says, would you play Gomez or Leone in place of Canate against Arsenal, who are a bigger threat than Newcastle? And he was all over the place against them. That's a horrible one, that, to ask me, Lee. It really is, because Leone, it's hard, honestly. I'd love to say about Leone, because he's a big 6'5" fella. He's very quick, brilliant in the air. But to have a baptism against, in the Premier League, against Arsenal, be difficult. That'll be very difficult. And I think you'd appreciate that, by the way. That it would be difficult. So what you do with it, I'd play Joe Gomez, to be honest. And Joe Gomez, he's not match fit, is he? And there's Conor Bradley. He's not match fit either. It's going to be difficult against Arsenal. Can you do a history show about William Wilberforce one day, Frank? I saw a blue plaque about him in Liverpool. Wilberforce, you see, he got all the credit for stopping the slave trade, as you know, down in Hull. And our lads here, especially William Roscoe and William Rathbone, got no credit whatsoever. And they fought tirelessly. And even here, especially when we abolished it, well, he was campaigning, we didn't abolish it. So up to then. And Roscoe, he was really campaigning to stop it. And he actually became an MP. And he was an MP for a year, just to say about the slave trade, about how dehumanizing it was to people, you know, to fellow human beings. And he was brilliant at it. But here, you know, when they found out, the workers, they really thought if the slave trade it's just ordinary workers. They thought if the slave trade is abolished, what this fella's going on about here in Liverpool, stop the trade coming into Liverpool, it'll destroy all the jobs. That's what they were thinking, the workers, the ordinary workers. So they seen him. They actually seen him campaigning, Roscoe, and they all ran over to him, a gang of them, and manhandled him, lifted him up and marched him down, believe it or not, Water Street, and threw him into the Mersey. He wanted to kill him, and he couldn't swim. Threw him into the Mersey. That's how, you know, that's how strongly the ordinary workers felt if the slave trade was abolished. And when it finally did get abolished, it wasn't. Because 24% of trade coming into Liverpool during the slave period belonged to the slave trade. 24%. The other 76% of trade coming in, 76, had nothing at all to do with the slave trade. So they were panicking over nothing. That's been proved. Our big three games are Madrid home, Atletico, Madrid home, and Inter away. You couldn't believe that, could you? You couldn't make that up. Didn't know you could teleport, Frank. Because of this. I like that. I like that. Very quick, very humorous. I've just seen Russia delivers a devastating blow to corrupt blue and yellow country, and Trump's crying the absolute sausage, yeah. Says Callum. You see, I'll tell you what it'll be like. You know, they're trying to put, they've got no leverage on Russia. None at all, whatsoever. And they're trying to say, listen, you know, about negotiations. And Putin's turned around and he said it going back last year, even. Going back last year. And he said, when they changed the regime, when they changed the leader, because if Zelensky signs anything like that, it could be weightless after he has an election, because he's on his way out anyway. He says a new leader could come in and go, no, I never signed that. And constitutionally, he's not a leader. It's only the West that have still put him there as a leader and presenting him as a president, and he's not. He's just an annoying chap going around begging for money and arms. Where's all the money gone? You've got to ask yourself. He's had billions upon billions, and he's still asking for billions. And then, where's all the arms gone? What's happened to them besides getting blown up by the Russians? It's gone on too. They've been selling them. They've been selling them to, different countries. But countries, the likes of Colombia, for example, cartels. They've been selling them there. And nothing's getting done about it. Absolutely nothing. Does America know? Does Trump know what's going on? Trump is a complete and utter buffoon, I'm afraid. I really thought that he was going to be somebody, for peace. I really did. I really thought this man's coming in. I've got to give him one credit, though. From the Biden administration, no one had talked to Putin at all. Nobody. They just wanted the destruction of Russia, but that's gone by the by. That'll never happen. But they just wanted the destruction. And as we know, there's more really, and I'll tell you for why. The Ukrainians came out and said that there's 1.7 million Ukrainians being killed. 1.7. But there are other sources. Now, they're the Ukrainians themselves who've said that. Because Other sources say that there's more than 1.7, 1.9, nearly 2 million. But I think there's a reason why Ukraine have finally come out and said the truth, whereas the other fella, Zelensky, he was saying that, oh no, only 45,000 has been killed. We're winning the war because the West will believe in them. Or wanting to, I don't know. I just don't know. And, so they was feeding them more money, to carry on the machine, feeding them more money. And you had other jokes, on podcasts saying, well, what you've got, why haven't Russia moved further, in? Why haven't they taken more ground? It's been taking them nearly 4 years just to have those oblasts. Because that's all they wanted, Russia. They want nothing else. To save the Russian-speaking people and the Russian language and the Russian culture. What Ukraine were actually doing, the Kiev regime, stopping everything Russian. And don't forget that they were actually killing Russian-speaking Ukrainians, the Kiev regime. That's why they went in February 2022. And what you call a SMO, Special Military Operation, to save them. That's right. And Putin was warning the West, stop this genocide to the Russian-speaking people. Nothing happened. Because they knew they were provoking Russia all the time. And you know the score now. And Yusuf says, get Isak Derby out the way. Time for Zubamendi Derby. Time for the Zubamendi, says Yusuf. Yusuf, who cares about Zubamendi, says Cal. We are Liverpool, we will win, says Callum. Callum. 2-1 Liverpool Sunday. The Reds will be marching down Anfield Road in glee by full time. And Yusuf says, all the Reds wanted him. I did. Being honest. Oh, Zuby. Yusuf, glad we didn't get him now. His face is so irritable, says Callum. His face. Johan says, you asked who the world's bully was. America. Yes, of course. They bully everybody. You've only got to look at Maduro, Venezuela. You've only got to look at Afghanistan. You've only got to look at Libya, Iraq, Syria. It's the resources that America wants. I'll go on about Venezuela in a moment or two. I'm going to go through these. Abhinav A. Abhinav A. Some name that, isn't it? Abhinav. Do you think Isak will make us have more chance to win the Premier? Yeah. Yeah. But the point is, Abhinav, we've got to gel. We can't go on with a defence the way, our defensive mistakes are glaring. They're glaring to us. And it's glaring obvious that we all know. And nothing's been addressed by it. As I said, I wanted in Cappy. And this gooey lad. Get him. I wanted in Cappy. Great player, great left back, great centre back. I don't know who's going in. Is it Arsenal who are going in for him? Or Tottenham? I don't know who's going in. And we could have had him. We could have had Karavashela. Just imagine him on our side. But he's sacked. And Ekatike. Have you seen the loser, Tom Barrack, called Lebanese journalist animalistic? Yes. I was looking for a quote, and it was by this Israeli politician. And it was the most disgraceful quote. You've seen it like this, you know, seeing it. It wasn't in papers or anything, or tweets or anything. He was actually coming out with it, saying it. And he just said, I want to kill the lot. Just get rid of them. And that's happening in the 21st century today. By a race of people that went through a Holocaust themselves during World War II. Well, before, you know, during the 30s and World War II, and the final solution. So you see, but nothing's getting done. And the only fella who could do something, can stop it immediately, is the fella who wants the Nobel Peace Prize. How can you give a man the Nobel Peace Prize? I know Obama got it, and he's got blood on his hands through Syria and Libya. And this lot, Ukraine, because he was balling us up with loads of arms, and people forget about that when he was in his tenure as president. Because the Ukrainian army was the biggest in Europe, by the way. I don't know whether you're aware of that. Because NATO and the West were bulling them up, and they building all the defences and everything for them in Ukraine, because they knew that Russia would go in. That's why they were poking the bear, what you call poking the bear, provoking. And they built them up, the army, and it became the biggest. They built them up over an 8-year span. And they really thought that they could take down Russia. They really thought it. Great armies, other than, you know, the Ukrainian army and NATO and everyone else, you know, couldn't take on, you know, couldn't really take them on, the French, until the whole of Europe combined. You had an 1805 the Balance of Power Act, and they said, if anyone 1815, sorry, yeah, was it 1815? Yeah, the 1815 Balance of Power Act. And they said, after the defeat of Napoleon, the fall of Napoleon, and it said, if anyone rises, one nation will all combine and defeat them. Because it took the whole of Europe to defeat Napoleon. The whole of Europe. They were a phenomenal army. Really phenomenal. And I always listen, you know, when I get a bit down, I always listen to the 1812 Overture, Tchaikovsky's. And Tchaikovsky, he actually put the Marseille into his music. You know, to say like about the French. So he did pay tribute to the French, but more so to the climax. Excuse me. The crescendo, the bells, the cannons, fantastic. But NATO, America, UK, they've all been defeated. And there's Macron and Starmer wanting to put boots on the ground. What for? What for? See, I'm not Snapey. Have you seen a loser Tom Barrack called Lebanese journalist animalistic? But it's not only them, all journalists but all the journalists in Gaza are being targeted and killed and blown up. And you get Netanyahu saying, no, it was a mistake. We're sorry for that. No, he's not. He's a liar. He's a war criminal. Will he ever stand their trial? I'd love him to. I'd love him to be in The Hague. I'd love him to be in The Hague, to stand trial for war crimes against humanity. And I'm talking babies here and children, little mad kids who run around playing. When you were a child, you were running around playing. When I was a child, I was running around playing, killing the likes of them. And I mean, deliberately. If they didn't get them with a shell or a bomb, they shot them. And it's happening today. They're starving them. And Netanyahu said they're not starving. There's no such thing as famine. That's what he said. We're not starving them. We're letting the aid through. He's a liar. They won't allow the Western press into Gaza. Why? Why won't they allow the Western press in? And everything's just a mass. Hezbollah. And it's shocking. Because for years they've been planning this. Since 1948, believe it or not. And I'm going to show you what they've been planning. Right now. This is the greater Israel that they want. Pink. All in red. Egypt, Iraq, Syria, Amman, Jordan, everything. Look at it. And yet, when you see the map of Israel, it's very small. It's a very small map. But I don't think there's 7 million there now because lots have fled. And that's what they want. That's their plan. That's their plan. And the Americans are helping them. The Americans are helping them. Look at it. Just look at that map. Greater Israel. Why do you think they want Iran as well? Why do you think they want to take on Iran? Well, they won't because Iran had slaughtered them. Be honest. Why do you think they want America to go and bomb Iran, which they have done? And this is what I'm saying about Trump. And Netanyahu actually nominated him for a peace prize, the Nobel Peace Prize. Netanyahu, a war criminal. because he's complicit in all this, is Donald J. Trump, by arming Israel and sending them money, just like Ukraine, sending them money. And under the belly, so to speak, you've got them trying to buy, believe it or not, Cyprus, Israelis. They're buying everything. They're buying up land. They're buying and when you look at where Cyprus is, look at it. Right next to Syria and right next to Turkey. And who's the leader of Syria now? A fella who has a $10 million bounty on his head, Al Giovanni. A terrorist, a fella who chops heads off. And he's being executing Christians every single day. So there's someone waiting in a cellar or something. El President will be executed tomorrow. Head chopped off. And look at it. Oh, come on. That's the greater Israel. And America's allowing them to achieve what they want. I just want to thank my sponsors. And it's Gap Painting Services, who sponsor every Frank Carlyle podcast. They're fully time served, these lads. They're fully insured. They're absolutely brilliant. If you're an NHS worker, please get them in because you get a special discount. Don't struggle. Don't struggle. From a cleaner who mops the floor in the NHS to a top surgeon, you get a special discount. And if you're an elderly person, the same goes for you. You get a special discount. Don't struggle decorating your home. Get these lads in. And you'll have a shiny, brand new home, all nicely decorated at a very reasonable price. That's Gap Painting Services. And if you're going to the game on Sunday to see the Arsenal, go and see these people. Michelle and Michael Dean, husbands and wife who've got a small business, and they're absolutely brilliant. They sell high quality gear, very reasonable. They're a lovely couple. It opens 2 hours at match days because Michael's a season ticket holder. Can't keep open and watching them, you know, with the matches on. And he opened for 2 hours. They're lovely people, very accommodating, all quality stuff, all reasonable prices. And if you missed that, you can get them on hat, scarf, or a badge.com. And you can order your stuff on there. And believe me, it is all top quality stuff. That's that scarf or a badge. And Snapey, I'm sorry about this, I'm late now. After falling through next door ceiling and landing on the dining table like a cross between Wurzel Gummidge and Bob the Builder, I'm finally on the sofa, luxuriating in my unlimited data. Evening up. He must have got money through from somewhere. Absolutely brilliant. Leone's a giant, says you. Yeah, he is a giant. I said it, when did I say it? Against Newcastle. I said, play him. Just before the Newcastle game. Play him. But, you know, do we throw him against this lot? And this lot are far better than Bournemouth. And they're far better than Newcastle. And we did struggle. Slot nearly got it. Well, he got out of jail. That's the way I say it. In the two games that we've played, I've got hiccups. Daniela, seeing Daniela today, and Stephen. Hi Frank, we're listening to you on our last night in Liverpool. We'll miss you and miss the city. Oh, I had Daniela up today and her husband Stephen. Big Beatle fans, big Red fans. And she's an Inter supporter. And she knows that, you know, I follow two Italian teams. Only because of family, the way my family was. That's Napoli and Inter. I don't know whether you're aware of this, but Inter in Italy is like the Liverpool, you know. You know, the way it was formed and things like that. Our fans should be aware of that. But I've got great respect as well for AC. Great respect. Thank you, Daniela and Stefan. I'd play Gomez, but I know he's going to play Canate, says Yusuf. Of course he is. Of course he is. Callum. Arsenal look the better outfit right now. Don't get me wrong, but Anfield's atmosphere will push us over the line. It's going to be one hell of a atmosphere and game. Snapey says, a bit controversial perhaps, but I'd keep Canate on. Nothing controversial. I understand where you're coming from and about the controversy, because lots of people want him dropped. They really do. We got rid of Gerald Quansah. Would you know, and people saying, oh yeah, you know, we get a better one now. Would you have kept him? It's like Lucho. I didn't want Lucho to go. And if we don't get Isak or any other forward, because we need two forwards, we're going to struggle. And if this Guy doesn't come in, think about it. Gomez, as I'll carry on what Sleepy's saying. Reason being, he must know he owes us a performance. Gomez is made of balsa wood. Throwing Leone in against the glorified Stoke City isn't good. There you go. If things are not going to our liking, I'd bring Leone on at some point in the second half. Says King. I agree there. I agree with that. I think we have to blood him in first. We have to. He's a big lad. And Lee says, tough one, isn't it, Frank? But I think Slot will start Karate hoping he has a good game. Now, when you read words carefully, and what you said there, hoping, think about that, what you said, and everybody else, by the way. Lee's right. Lee Brady's right, what he's actually saying. Even the Snapey said it. And he said it might be a bit controversial because people want him dropped. And the same play Joe. Now, Joe, I'm telling you now, isn't match fit. He's not match fit. And neither is Connor Bradley. Neither is Connor Bradley. Okay. So, as he says, Slot will start Konate hoping he has a good game. And I think he will start Bradley and use Dom in midfield with Macker and Gravenberch. I bench Verts only because it's a massive game who the other three are experiencing. Now, you see where everybody you're coming from. And they're all great comments, by the way. They're all great comments because Waits, up to now, hasn't done anything for me. Because he came, with all this hype, being the best footballer in Europe. Don't get me wrong, I'm not. Say, I'd use Dom, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch in a double pivot. That's a great role. They were great. They were great together. I'd use them. I don't think that he will drop Verts. I don't think he will. And where's his Curtis Jones fit in this? Because I thought Curtis Jones plays very well against Newcastle. And people don't like him for some reason. They don't like Curtis Jones. Sometimes he gets the ball. His passing's brilliant, He very, very rarely gives the ball away. Very rarely. You might disagree with me. That's fine. It's about time we get a win against these, says you, sir. I think we do all right against them. And the Bear, how good to see you, Bear. Hi, Frank, I hope you're well tonight, my friend. Yeah, okay. Okay. Evening, Joel, I'll say Snake. Snake. Don't forget, Snapey's not in the loft anymore. Get next door's Wi-Fi. You can't make these things up, can you? He's got his own now. He's got his own Wi-Fi. Great knowledge. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Frank. I'll look more into William Roscoe, says the Freedom. No, don't. I'll tell you all about him. I'll tell you all about him. I tell you about him tomorrow night. In fact, unless you're going out into town Friday night. I love my Friday nights. Used to love them. Because the Friday night, when I was, when I was younger, a lot younger, and going out with the lads on a Friday night, sublime. Oh, because Saturday nights were for the girls. Yes, taking the girls out. If you're not a girl, I was saying to Michelle, not Michelle, I'm sorry, Daniela and Stefan today, that a girl when I was 16 broke my heart. Oh, couldn't get over it. Oh, I'll never get over it. She dumped me. I still don't know why she dumped me. Don't know whatever happened to her, to be honest. Most probably she got married and had children. And most probably she's a grandmother now. If she's still with us, yeah. Good luck to her. But she broke my heart nevertheless. And the bear says, hit the like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Bear. Really appreciate that. And Joanne says to Snapey, good evening, Snapey. Hope you're well. It gives him a few pints. King Kenny. Snapey, even Canate knows us a good permanent. Hang on. Even knows us a good permanent. Don't guarantee he will. He's been given plenty of games and some he's been great, but we need players to give performance regular, more consistent. Yeah, totally agree with you, King Kenny. Totally. Not now and then. Exactly. Exactly. Snapey, King Kenny agreed. Trouble is, the current alternatives aren't exactly viable. The Grimbles. Never seen this lad before. Grimbles. No, I'm not swearing. You know that I don't swear, but these comments I have to swear because they put it in. We'd be fucked without the Yanks, though. It depends. What are you talking about? Are you talking about LFC and the owners? Oh, because don't forget, this is the best window we've ever had off them. In the years of tenure they've owned us. Because we've always become a sell-to-buy club. Look how many people we sold this summer. And there's still a few to go out, and that is the likes of Elliot and Costas. I keep Costas, by the way. So we'd be fucked without the Yanks, though. But if you mean it's not football, if you mean, current affairs, the fucking Wales fucked with them. Who starts the wars? Alan says, think we will get Mark Gee. Yeah, I can't pronounce that fella's name, you know. Gee. Why couldn't he have a name like Jones or Callum or Shankly or Allen or even Grimbles? Why couldn't he have a name like that? Leone will be. I agree with you there, Shankly Reds. I really agree with you. And if our Shanks was with us today, he'd have him standing there, walking around him like he did with Ron Yates. He's a colossus. He's like, and all the journalists walking around. Ron Yates are looking up like that. And they looking up. Incredible. He's a giant. Oh, Shankly. So I agree with you, Shankly Reds. He will be immense. But he's got to give him minutes this season. He's got to start it. He's got to blood him in. Callum says, I saw the old Jewish fella talk about the Holocaust. There's been a Holocaust and apartheid for 77 years, of course it has. Since 1948. This was planned in 1882 as Zeo-ideology would take over Palestine. I've seen an article from 1910. Yeah, it's always been on the cards. That's why Lord Balfour gave them this strip of land, a little strip of land, and said to the Jews, "Yeah, no, you can have that." The Israelis. And what you see, the Israelis today, they're all European. Netanyahu, Polish. So they changed the names. And I've got to mention this, I really have. You've got that actress, Gal Gadot. Is it Gal? Yeah, Gal Gadot. Plays Wonder Woman. And she's in the... it's been panned. Wonder Woman got panned. And so did Sleeping Beauty. Got panned. And who did she blame? And I seen it the other day giving out a thing to a big audience of the Jewish brethren. And she for the panning she got, she's a terrible actress. Awful. Anyway, I thought it was hilarious. I couldn't believe my ears. And she blamed the Palestinians. She blamed the Palestinians for bad performances and why it was panned by the critics. You couldn't make these things up. Callum, 1920 and 1882. Articles, he said. And Dean Paul says SAS unrivaled. The SAS special, my dad was in the SBS. He was an officer, my dad. And he was a very brave man. And he was nearly killed 4 times. And he led his lads. He led his lads into dangerous waters, blowing up, or trying to, blowing up battleships. That's what he was in, the special boat service. And submarines and things. And he was nearly killed 4 times. And as I said just a while back, when in May, my birthday month, they had the Ukrainian army marching here with our lads. How many lads were fighting the Nazis? How many families here had families, like granddads or even dads, or even uncles fighting the Nazis? And yet we've got them walking with us. The Azovs, the Banderites of Ukraine. Have a look, there's a thing about Zelensky, right? And this fella Zelensky, there's no way Russia, once Zelensky goes, is the He's the British, fucking hell. He's the Ukrainian ambassador in Britain. And he's got a swastika on his tattoo, on his person. And he's so proud to be a Banderite. See him saying it. Zelensky, who this regime in this country and the West want him in there as the new leader. You know why? Because they still want to keep escalating the war. Why do you think that our economy is going, and France's and Germany's? Even their mates, you know, he's come out and said, hasn't he? We're in a terrible state, yet he's still giving money to Zelensky. We're giving £5 billion every year. We've signed a 100-year contract to them. What for? We were fighting them, the same Ukrainians. We've got a new MI6 head who's taken office the month after next. In October. And her granddad was known as, guess, the butcher of Ukraine. You look at van der Leyen and their background, family background, Nazis. Alalina Baerbock, Nazis. Kaya Kallas, Nazis. Merz himself, Nazis. The Chancellor, what's that telling you? You can't make this up. And they're supporting them. They're pouring everything into. And that's why Russia wants to denazify Ukraine. Denazify. Not to keep it going. That's one of their negotiating tools, to denazify. Read up about the Azovs, if you can read up about them, lest they deleted them. Show you. If you don't believe me, I'll show you something. And they tried to say, didn't they, that there was no such thing as there was no such thing as Nazis in Ukraine. It's all spin and all propaganda. By they saying there's none there. There they are there. Look at the shields. What's that tell you? And their soldiers, their Ukrainian soldiers celebrating Bandera. And it was Bandera. Bandera was a man who killed 400,000 Jews alone. Killed Ukrainians. Killed. This is besides the Jews, by the way. Dissidents. People were, well, I can't walk now the way I am at the moment. And I'd be dead. They killed me. Because they said, get rid of the disabled. Kill Romanis, gypsies. He had them all killed. And they celebrate his birthday every year. They're called the Azovs. And people are pouring money, you know, not us, not you and I, but governments. And governments, this government here is absolutely scam. We've got 1.5 million kids below the poverty line. And he's doing nothing about it. Stormy. And what's he doing? Giving them billions. Ukraine. What's Ukraine? Do you know what? Before this SMO, if I was to go on a map and say, where's Ukraine there? No one was a fucking known. No one was a known where Ukraine was. SAS, yeah. My friends, says Dean Paul. My friend was in the SAS. He was the first one into the Iranian embassy in the 80s. Remember that? When the girl was killed. The little PC. Forget her name now. She was killed. But there's a plaque there, isn't there? A little memorial forevermore. And they went in, didn't they? Our Angela's husband was in it. Should have seen what he showed me about the Philippines. Photographs. I said, I don't want to look at them. He said, oh, Francis, have a look at them. I don't want to see them. He said, a fella came in, they were in the jungle and they had to clear some parts of the jungle. And they wondered why. And he wasn't given the, they never said why, they just said clear it. So he had to clear it, this jungle. And he said, we're all sitting there, around the camp, little camp. And in flies an helicopter, lands where where they cleared the land. And he said, and out steps this fella. Tall. He had a white tuxedo coat on, black tie, red carnation, black trousers, tuck trousers, that is, tuxedo, and shoes, just walked up. He said, hello, chaps, He said he was just like James Bond and flew out again, gave them orders. The orders were to take these prisoners. Yeah, I'll just put it this way. When the Americans, the cavalry, during the 19th century, and they were clearing ethnic cleansing, people forget about the ethnic cleansing by the Americans to the indigenous American native. They forget about that. They don't want to talk about that. So the ethnic cleansing that went on because there's gold in them hills. When they were ethnic cleansing, the army said, listen, make sure you've got to have proof that you're clearing them, about the people. Proof. Do you know what the proof they had to show? Or what they said they'd do? Scalp them. And it wasn't the, what you're seeing in films and, especially in the 50s and whatever, that them dirty Apaches scalped and the Comancheros scalped the whites. It's the whites who was actually scalping. So I'll just leave it with that, what the SAS, but it wasn't just a scalp, if you know what I mean. So I'll just leave it at that. I said, I don't want to look at that. Shocking. Not little photographs, little ones. Do you like that? SAS. And the SAS one dug into a bank in Southern Ireland, the Republic. Dug into a bank because they found a cache of guns And he knew that the IRA had come and get them. And the orders were, no matter how many's there, keep one alive. And he did. You don't hear about these things. And Callum, Dean Studge and Lewis was unfortunate. Our back line was full of donkeys, but I actually liked Skirtle. I did. I liked Skirtle, Callum. Skirtle was underrated. Do you remember the goals he scored? I was there at Anfield when he scored 2. Brilliant. Big header one. The other one was a big shot. Callum, the red again. Thought he meant Suarez and Sturridge. Suarez, great. My old mate Stephen. Starmer shedding tears because MI6 headquarters in Kiev was destroyed by Russia because he's been threatening about boots on the ground. And that's more or less saying, you do that and your soldiers will die. He's one German, he's one mate. Russia also destroyed a drone factory in Kiev. Stay again. Netanyahu also said he wants to take over. Yeah, I said that before. Said it. He wants to take oversight. Think about what these Israelis want to do. They already run America, by the way. They run us. They run us. They run us. They run this country. If you don't think so, I'm telling you, they do. And they want to take over Cyprus to get rid of the Turkish side of Cyprus. Yeah. But what did we look? That's a very good point, that, because in 1974, what had happened was, they came in, the Turks, and took over the south of the island, and no one done nothing. Nobody lifted a finger to do anything. Now you've got Ukraine targeting the energy system pipeline of Hungary. And Hungary is a NATO country, also a EU country, part of the EU. Ukraine isn't part of anything. And yet no one said a fucking dicky bit. No one said nothing. You might as well talk to this. Mightn't I? Yeah. No one said a word. They went into Romania. And there was a fella by the name of Karen Georgescu, and he was going to win the election in May. He was going to win it, hands down. He was that much percent in the lead. And von der Leyen said, we can't have this. And the Americans, by the way, it wasn't just von der Leyen and the EU, because they turned around and said, Romania, they said, listen, we want nothing at all to do with this war. Absolutely nothing. I want to look after our own people. Because what's going on in Romania, they're building the fucking biggest NATO base in Europe. And they went, we can't have that, can we? Don't forget, it borders Russia. So they said, they cancelled, the EU cancelled their election. For democracy? What kind of fucking democracy does this EU have? By cancelling an election? Is that democracy? Also, so they said, okay, get another fella in. So he went to put his name down again and got arrested, this Georgescu. He was arrested. So this other fella came in who had the same ideology and the same thoughts as Georgescu. So he put his name forward and they all voted for him because the ordinary people knew, we don't want this with Ukraine. We don't want it. And Simeone, he said, let's do this. Let's do it together. And what happened to him? He was that far ahead in the poll, it was impossible for him to get beat. Oh, but guess what? He got beat. The corruption is immense. They're trying to do it now in Hungary. These colour revolutions, these NGOs going in, they go to a different country and they get the likes of us saying, hey, how do you want to earn this? I think it's $2,000 or something with the fare. And you go into a country, you just get you into a country holding a little EU flag, waving it, and just shout. Because even the people in Georgia, especially in Georgia, they're saying that they're not Georgian, they don't speak our language, we don't know where they come from. And it's happening in Georgia now, right now. It's shocking what they're doing. Done it to Serbia, didn't he? With Vucic. They're doing it with Fiso. Remember, he had 6 bullets shot at him. He was nearly assassinated. Fiso, but he's still leader. He survived and he's leader and he's a very powerful man, very strong. They want to get rid of him. They want to get rid of Oban. It's shocking what they're doing. Excuse me. Is there anyone from the EU? Yeah, of course, there's bases. They just give us a load of nuclear arms. I mean, nuclear missiles. Sneak them in. That's why they showing the Starmer do this. Don't do it. We'd be wiped out. Liverpool as well is one of the black. When I was lecturing at the time, like the Cold War was going on, still the Cold War, and I said the blackest spot in Europe is Liverpool because all the nuclear things was coming through here, Liverpool airport, and they had it. The blackest spot in Europe was Liverpool. Boom. A nuclear war was a starter, bump, and the same today. We're wiped out. You've only got to look at that Lindsey Graham and all the rest of these senators and congressmen. Remember when Netanyahu went over last year to America? He got 58 standing ovations. Netanyahu, a war criminal. Remember in Canada and that Juncker, when he stood up and he got 2 standing ovations in their parliament, Canadian parliament, until someone said, I'm putting pictures up of him as an SS officer fighting the Soviets. And Russia said, we want him for war crimes, get him over here. Never did. He was 92, he's 93 now. You're not old enough to stand trial. And this is why tomorrow night I'm doing a thing called Operation Paperclip. And if you don't know anything about it, listen in tomorrow night. Unless you're going into town to have a good night out. You can listen to me if you're not sitting in. And listen all about Operation Paperclip after the Second World War and what it involved. Yeah, there's loads here, Dara. Loads, mate. Frank, that land was promised to them 4,000. And you're anti-Semitic if you think otherwise. 4,000 years ago, yeah. I was taught Lord Balfour was a Scouser as well. As I said, he said that, you know, my age, I was a cam lad working on the pyramids. I used to make the lads the cups of teas and coffees. They say it about the Bible. They don't believe in the Bible. He was an atheist. I forget his name. I don't know these, you know, the very funny names, you know, the Jewish names. What they chose, you know, what they choose. Oh, I think I'll call myself that, you know. And he said, oh, in the Bible, we were promised the land, the chosen. We're the chosen. And so, oh God, came out, you know, just like an ordinary not an ordinary, well-known podcaster. And he said, by the way, you know, say like it's Rabbi, just say Rabbi. Rabbi's an atheist, by the way. And all of a sudden he believes in God. What they promised. Just, it's and Toscana. She's speaking our little Italian there. I do hope you get a chance to visit again. Spero che facciate un buon viaggio. That means, you know, safe journey. Oh, yeah, safe travels. That's lovely. Thank you, Toscana. American government is the evil of all evil, says Callum Durrett. Dara Azizi, thoughts on George Galloway, Frank? Yeah, I love him. But I watch him on a Sunday, but I can't go live for some reason on my telly. I used to comment. He actually read my comments out once. Well, he read it out twice. And it was about a little girl. And she was filmed. And she was walking down a rubbled road. And she was full of, like, dust. On her own. She was 3 or 4 years old. And she had this little princess dress on. My little granddaughter, Sophia, she used to dress up as a little princess from that Frozen thing. And she was walking down the road. And you could tell she was traumatized. You could see it, and she was just walking aimlessly. A beautiful looking little child. Beautiful. And she had this hair. Black hair, but it was my colour with all the dust. And she was on her own, so you can imagine what had happened. She's just been bombed or whatever. That's why she was full of this, like, white dust on her own. And they called her the little princess because she was in this Frozen. She could have been at a little party with her little friends. And she was walking aimlessly up the road. and they nicknamed her the Little Princess. And I said to George, I commented, I said, has anybody heard about the Little Princess? This is like a couple of months after, you know, the little lovely little girl was shown. And George read it out. And he said, Frank Carlyle, she's dead. That killed me, though. That killed me personally. I died then over this. What's going on in Gaza? And Dara says, I Scottish to the Bay. And Snapey, he says, without Saka and Odegaard, Arsenal will be the embodiment of primitive. Do you reckon? Do you reckon they'll be coming up throwing stones at us instead of the rockets coming at us? They'll be throwing sticks and stones. Excuse me. Chucking Leone into such a cauldron might be too big a gamble and potentially damage his confidence. Someone else said that as well, you know. Excuse me. That's why I said, if you remember, let's blood him in. You've got to blood him in. I always remember the Slot. First season, first game playing for Liverpool, you know, as manager of Liverpool. Manager of Liverpool. What did he do? Against Ipswich. He took, I'm sorry about this, he took off Quansah. Remember, second half, the lad never get how much confidence did he have? Quansah after that. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I've never seen a Liverpool manager do that. Ever. I've never seen a Liverpool manager take two country penalty takers off that we were leading to penalties, and that was against Paris Saint-Germain. I've never seen a Liverpool manager, take two, the left back and the right back off in the same game, ever. But that's me. That's me. And Snapey carries on. Against Arteta's bunch, we need robust physicality. We never showed anything. Midfield, against, we were bullied. I'll tell you his tactics, and if you can't grasp his tactics now, what he does. Remember when I did a watch along? Not the one against Newcastle the other night. Excuse me, I'm awfully sorry about this. Remember, and I said what he does, and I was in a podcast as well. I don't know whether it was a post-match or a pre-match, and a couple of weeks ago, and I said what he likes to do. I think it was the Bournemouth game. The Bournemouth game. If Liverpool are leading, coming up to half time, he plays it out to go in half time leading. He does it all the time. And that's what he did against Newcastle, didn't he? You don't pick up the momentum. Then Ekitike came out and scored. And then that was it. That was the last attack we had. until Rio scored. Can you believe that? We sat back, allowed them to come on us. That's his tactics. And if I'm, like as Donald Trump would say, I don't like it. I don't like it. And I don't. Callum said, I'd drop Gatko and chuck an extra midfield. That's a good shout there, actually. So you play two up front. Ekatike and Mo. That's a very good shout there. That is a very good shout, Callum. We're having fun tonight, aren't we? We're talking about everything. Football, Gaza, Ukraine, Trump, Operation Paperclip. Got a paranormal fella on next week, by the way. Still trying to get this fucking nuisance he is. You know, the UFO fella, the ufologist. Anyway, the old mate Stephen. I would start with Elliot and put Wirtz on the bench. I don't like Elliot starting, and I said it last season as well. He's better coming off the bench. He's better coming off the bench. And Callum says, I feel with Saka being out, Robertson starts. He's been finished for 2 seasons, Robertson. But then again, that's my opinion. Well, not just my opinion. QT. Oh, God. It's been a while. Oh, Paul is good, Frank. Thank you, QT. We just get excited now and again on this podcast. We get it with everything. You know, with the comments. Goes from one thing to another. But thank you, QT. Thank you. I hope you're well too. I think Wirtz, says Steve, would be better in the Champions League because European teams play slower. Yeah. No, they do. They do. So it's the underlying theme there. You know, I tried to say, well, we made a mistake bringing him in. We should have brought in a big, robust player, fella with bottle. We do need some physicality in midfield. And Gravenberch, the bucket size of him, he's not. He's not this like type of, get stuck, get in. We haven't had one of them for Youngs. We haven't had one since Mascherano. We need a Mascherano. Great he was, Mascherano. You ever hear Mascherano? We haven't had one since him. But we had, I'm sorry, we had Fabinho, and he got stuck in. He got stuck into Fab. And he hasn't been replaced, has he? That's why I've been saying for 3 years, people will tell you on here, you know, I've been asking for a number 6. And, we've got it, Gravenberch. Yeah, and. Good shout though, Stay, about Wirtz. Allison, Bradley, Canate, Van Dijk, Robbo, Gravenberch, Maka, Szoboszlai, Jones, Ekatike, Salah, Sunday for me, says Callum. Wirtz and Kerkers being a bit poor. Yes, but then again, Kerkers, he was, you know, for that Bruno's goal, he's horrible, him, wasn't he? Bruno, dirty him. He should have been sent off, by the way. He should have been well sent off, that man. But I think Hooper lost his bottle. He lost his bottle because Gordon, you know him. Remember that? And Liverpool fans wanted to buy him. Buying him. Snapey says, Curtis Jones' ball retention is up there with the league's best. Thank you. I like Jones as a box-to-box, exhibits boundless energy, essential in the modern game for me. He's under it. Yeah. Because you see it and he runs and he finds open space. You watch him and he just puts the ball out to Mo or to Gapco or who's ever on the wing. And when he scored. He scored. He scored against Newcastle. I know Rio got the goal. I don't know what goal it was. And I think it was the second, you know, Liverpool's second. And Jones was brought down. And the referee never even blew. And somehow the ball went to our player. And it just went, and Gapco scored. No, Gravenberch scored, didn't he? And Gravenberch, yeah, when Gravenberch scored, you just have a look at it again. And he was fouled, but it was through him because he went down, he went through. Nice one, Snapey. And Callum says, Szoboszlai and Ekatike in the 4-2-2-2 up top. You can't drop Tom. Don't forget, you know, last season, Tom was not liked, was he? Just don't believe so. I'm hoping we have Isak on the bench for Sunday, says Callum. I don't know, you know. I don't know. He's not at all fit. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Would it be great if he did, like we said him, that is. But it's Friday tomorrow. And Johan, Gal Gadot changed their name from Greenstein as well. Very Middle Eastern name, that Greenstein. Yeah. And she speaks with an accent, you know. Excuse me. The bear. Hi, Danny. And the bear says, my father's two younger brothers were former SAS. Go away. My granddads and great-granddads are both war heroes as well and are well known in Scotland. Frank, different breed from me. And I was a champion boxer. Oh, go away. My uncle used to box. My uncle used to box. Believe it or not. Just trying to get some. Not there. Not there. Yeah, my uncle was a boxer. in the 30s, my great uncle, that is. And he was known as the Liverpool Wop in America. And he was the only British boxer to go to the Madison Square Garden and have 7 fights, won 6 and drew 1. And he even beat the American champion and world champion. But it wasn't a world championship fight. My great uncle, my granddad's brother. And my granddad was banned. He was fighting at Anfield. And Billy Wells was the referee, and he gave the fight to his opponent. You know, my great uncle was fighting. And everyone booed. They said no. And my granddad was a second, you know, putting the stool into the corner so he sat down, and he picked the stool up and threw it at Billy. And he was banned for life. For daring to throw. You know, the stool. I'm just looking for something here. I can never fucking find this thing, you know. I reckon that, to be honest, when we get the likes of, you know, great people, like soldiers, but all as you're heard of are the soldiers that are, I've got 5 great military, you know, and I go from Caesar, you know, I go from Caesar upwards. And Nelson, believe it or not, Napoleon's in there. Nelson and Montgomery. And the other fella is one of the greats. And, you know, when you mention his name, you go, oh, well, he was there, never heard of him. Because you're there to Caesar, you see. You're there to Montgomery, you're there to Napoleon, you're there to Nelson. You go, no, never heard of him. And he was one of the greatest. And his name was Field Marshal Georgy Zhukov. Fuck it, where's this thing? Where is it? Fucking useless I am, you know. Really, absolutely useless. Okay. Nope, not there. Nope, not there. I don't know where it is. Very important as well. I'll have a look, put a proper look tomorrow. I can't look tonight because I'm too tired. But I'll have a look tomorrow. Because it should be here. It's very important to me. Molto importante. Per me. Per me. Gone. It's just gone, disappeared. It's annoying when you can't find anything. But then again, you want to look at this desk here. Oh, disgusting. That's great, that bear. That's great. I can't stand Liverpool, mate, says Johan Bossman. It's the way it is. I can't stand Liverpool, says Johan Bossman. And Callum says, Johan, why are you here then? To tell us that you can't stand Liverpool. Well, you know, he might be saying, he might be like that. I said about that lady from Hampshire, and she said, "Oh, surely not at London, really? Surely not at London." You know, the about the railway system, about the dock system, about everything else that I was saying as well, about the X-ray, about the first medical officer of health, about rounding off the sewage system, about the first paid nurse in the world and the system set up here that the world looks to now and practices. Agnes Jones. And Daniela from Stefan, enough of the truth must have come through. The Liverpool Echo removed the propagandist flag of Ukraine from its own page. I never buy that. And I didn't even know that had it done. So I'm glad of that. Thank you, Steph. Thank you. Thank you, Daniela. And so many billions, says Daniela. This is from Stefan. So many billions to Ukraine, so much misery in the streets of Liverpool, no funds to care for people of England who have fallen under hard times. As I mentioned before, Stefan, as I mentioned before, there are 5.4 million, or 5.5 now, children in this country below the poverty line. My mother groaned, my father wept. Into the dangerous world I leapt, helpless, naked, piping loud, like a fiend hid in a cloud. William Blake. And Steve says, let's go, champ. I stay. My lad Steve is in the building. Who's it? Steve. Good to see you, Steve. The Bear says, with Newcastle just signing a striker, both Isak and Guy will be done at the end of the weekend. Excuse me. I've got the itchy. I've got me lost that. I don't know why it goes itchy. You know, don't know why. Fallen to bits. I was okay today, but I had to have a sleep this afternoon. I had to have 2 hours. I'd been awake since 4 o'clock this morning after about an hour's sleep, if an hour. It's terrible what I'm suffering from. Insomnia. Can't sleep. And Stevie says, Frank, our midfield, or you're so right. Souness or a Steven Gerrard, yeah. Or a Mascherano. Mascherano was brilliant. But I understand about Souness and Steven because they were great footballers now. Really good. This show is the mix show, says Karen. Yes. Steve, I told you a lot we need is a nasty bugger in midfield. Is Slot and Hughes blind to this? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you, Bear. 100%. And Daniela Tosaskara, grazie tenere. Oh, so yeah, yeah. The next time it'll be, with Franco. Oh, that lovely, Daniela. She was born in Milan. Milan. UAPologist Franco. Stop it, you, Johan. UAP. Why did they change it? Why can't they just still say UFOs? Johan, why couldn't they just still say UFOs? Unidentified flying objects. Hey. And Steve says, Frank, this present squad don't finish top 5. We need 4 quality signings to retain the title. Over to you, cheap, tight FSG. I think to get another player in, I think, another couple have to go. It's hard to put your finger on things, isn't it, really? It's definitely the defence. But the midfield's been weakened. It really has. Because Wirtz is not... Look, Wirtz isn't doing it yet. So do we give him more time? He's lightweight. He's not like it. And, it's not like the Bundesliga where you can dribble through things, This is the Premiership. And they just go in at you, especially our players, the likes of that Bruno fella the other day. And that big goal, Ben. State of him. And see him being in our team. Steve says, Frank, yep. I would play Wirtz on the left side of the 3-man attack. But what about gap codes? Does he get dropped? Must do. And I'm still waiting for Coutinho replacement from FSG. Well, this fella's supposed to be like him, isn't he? Wirtz. Coutinho. He hasn't hit the ground running, has he? Wirtz, no matter how you look at it. And I'm talking about the hype he was given. I was talking about the hype. Everybody was, he hasn't lived up to it yet. And TQC says, this squad won the league easy last year. And there you have it. You see, there's lots of different opinions. But what you've got now, QT, you know this. What you've got now, you've got Arsenal. They've strengthened immensely. Chelsea have. Even City, albeit, City have had a bad start, if you know what I mean, getting beat at home. And, people are saying, they're in crisis, and they'll come good. You know that. I know that. And the king still got my sister's dogs, Frank. She home, how long has she gone away for? She gone on a cruise or something, a whale cruise. Led me to drink. My team, Sunday, Ali, Bradley, Canate, Verge, Gomez, Mack, Gravenberch, Sobo, Verts, Ekatike, Mo. See, now that's a good that's a good one. And have you noticed the way, when people are picking the teams, they're looking at Kirkers and they're taking them out? So it's not just one, it's a lot. It's the majority who are leaving Kirkers out. And Simon says, I think you best say nothing if you're right. The rose-tinted brigades will see you negative. Arsenal will win, in my humble opinion. Good night, says Simon. And he's a red, by the way. And QT, says Steve, this squad did not win the title last season. And it didn't. Lucio's gone, hasn't he? And we've got new people in. Like Kirkers. Ekatike, and Verts. Anyway, Frank, if Jones made a forward pass, he would faint, says Steve. You're going to get your leg kicked in. No, he makes loads of fucking forward passes. Haven't you seen them somehow when he's opened them up? Come on, Steve. Give us a break. Remember the goal he scored? It was a great goal. And it was a forward pass. It's a ball. Anyway. I ain't a fan of Jones, says QT, sadly, and feel this is his last season. But there you have it. You see, it's all about, which is the beauty of it, it's all about opinions. I like Jones. And as someone once said when I said that, I mean, you know a lot about football. What are you doing a podcast for? Go and support another team. You're too negative and all this. Oh, okay. And I was going to say to this fucking dope, how many European Cup finals have you been to? How many have you seen them win? I've seen our team personally win 5 of them. There on the night. The Bear, that dirty bugger in midfield, Bruno, you're talking about, Frank, yeah. It's exactly the type of player we need in Liverpool's midfield. Needs a nasty bugger. Remember you saying that, though? But why can't we get him, without being dirty? He's dirty, though, him. If he was playing for Liverpool, he'd be getting sent off every fucking game, him. He would be. You know what they're like, the referees with Liverpool and VAR. So you need someone like Mascherano or Fabinho. Fabinho was more calm, but ruthless. Mascherano just chased you down. I like little Abby. And Steve says, sell Jones to Villa for 50 million. Buy Rodgers off them for 75. What if they won't sell? And, what if they don't want Jones? And QT says to Steve, it is. We won the league without last year because both Nunes and Jota, RIP, were poor. Jota was injured though, wasn't he? And he saved us against Spurs, remember? He got the opening goal on the opening day against Ipswich. It's our Diogo. I still can't get over his tragic passing, to be honest. And Callum, I agree. He probably gets the bench or the 11 against Burnley 2.5 weeks. Is that Leone you're talking about? Yeah, I go along with that. Well, aren't we playing in the Carabao Cup? When are we playing in that? Is it next week? And the King said, it's saying as a game. We need, thank you. I said it before, though, King. I've said it for 3 years. 3 years. And all us get to is shout it down. Oh, we've got grammar merch there. If the Grav gets injured, well, and then they say, we've got a Endo. Sorry. I'm sorry. I hope we get Isak and Gay. And I would like a surprise like Rodrigo. Gapco's frustrating. Give Rio more time too when Gapco and Mo are crap as well. Yeah, he'll get more minutes, young Rio. I couldn't believe how he took that goal against Newcastle. That was incredible. But look at what's about. That was the best move. That was the best move all season, by the way, for that goal. And that's the way Liverpool can play. That's the way we can play. An unbelievable move. I'm not fed up with watching that move. From our half. With Big Ebu. Starting off with him. And I've never seen a dummy, either in club or international football, what Szoboszlai did. He not only bamboozled the player who was marking him, but he also bamboozled the keeper. You look at it. You look at that again. You just see the keeper. He didn't know what to do. It was that quick. He was going that way. And when he was going that way, it just left that gap open. And young lads, young Rio, put it right in there. And he was very mature for his age at that time of doing that, simply because other young lads have seen time and time and time again just swipe at it and put it over the bar or wise or, to the goalkeeper, scuff it to the goalkeeper. He placed it, side-footed it where he wanted it. Fantastic goal. And Steve says, you said the squad won the league. I said, you're wrong. This squad. I think what he meant, most of the players, there's only a couple, like Nunes, Diogo, and Lucho. And you've got to bring in Quansah as well, because he played in the title-winning team. Callum says it's been nearly 2 months without Diogo. Owen Trent. I forgot about Trent. What changed apart from Trent Diaz that most of our fans hated? Says QT. And Steve, this squad needs a quality centre-back, number 6, wide attacker, striker to win the title in March 2026. Sarebbe un piacere. This season's squads are smaller than last season. Are we retaining the title season? Because slot like I like small squads. I like small squads. He said that last year when he first came, like small squads. And he said it again this year, like small squads. Thinks he can play the same players every game. I'll let you go on with that. Tony Mack. Hiya, Tony. Hiya. Great to see you, Frank. Looking good. Hope you are, Tony. Good to see you, Tony. Really. Tony went through an hard time a couple of years ago as well. Good to see you, Tony Mack. They're all talking to themselves. Look. Daniela from Stepan. One of the greatest military leaders was Paul von Letov, the Lion of Africa, alone with 3,000 men against everyone else across the continent, was still fighting for the armistice. But what about that Japanese lad who was found in the Philippines 28 years later? He thought the war was still going on. 28 years later, no one told him it was over. His family obviously thought that he was dead. And see, Frank in Cappy, yeah. Why ain't she? Yeah, I've been wanting for 2 years. As Canate replay, I totally agree with you. Sell him if he don't sign a new deal at 100, yeah. But he's going to buy him. Because Real Madrid won't pay anything. They just like things on for free. The bear says Stevie never rotated in Feyenoord. He was blind to it. He will rotate now, even with the crap. It's needed, bro. Yep. Injuries are part and parcel of football, and that's why quality squad depth is important. That's what Arteta added this summer, says he did, certainly did. And Toscana even said, I'd love a young Mascherano in midfield. A lack of a defensive mid puts too much pressure on the defence. And sorry, but Canate's head is in Madrid. He's the same as the snake, just wants to go on a free. I don't think that the fans will allow that for him to last out 2 years. And I don't think the club would either, to be honest. Johan says, apparently UFO to UAP was done to shed extraterrestrial elements and encourage serious scientific investigation, which makes it even more suspicious. With all accounts, I sense a cost has been total cover-up. You want to see this fella's book? It's incredible. I haven't got it. We got it. Someone mentions in there about celebrating our birthday. And there's our lads in the beginning of, the Liverpool Pals. And First World War. And it's official programme. But the writing is, I'll just give you an example of the writing. It's very small. And as you know, I've got cataracts. It's terrible. Remember what a British general said on the eve of the First Battle of Ypres? He said, up to now, this regiment has not made a name for itself. Tomorrow, you shall make a name for yourself. If you're slightly wounded, make your own way back to base. Do not take up valuable ambulance service space. If you're badly wounded, make your way to a shell hole and die. And he addressed them. I've got it there. I've got a picture of it. Can I put my hand on it? Bloody books all over the place. My library. I can't see it. I've got my reading glasses on and I can't see the distance because it's over there somewhere. I've got a picture of him sitting on a horse and he's got his adjutant behind him. And the adjutant's on a white horse. And he's got his men in front of him and at the side, all to attention. That's what he said. Make your own way back to base and don't take up valuable service space. And if you're badly wounded, make your way to a shell hole and die. Steve to the bear. He never rotated at his last club. Lack of quality squad depth, and he likes to work with a small squad in a weak league. Yes, totally agree. Totally agree, 100% there, Steve. And QT says, I ain't just disagreeing with you with us needing more signing. Isak and Mark is a must, but Slaughter's playing too many need guys straight away. Klopp never done. Great comment that, QT. And they'll all agree with you. Did I read Toscana's? Oh, yeah, I did, didn't I? And Steve says, to the QT, this team will click within the next 5 to 8 games. Where will we be then if we haven't clicked? But we can only get better. And we've won our first 2. And one against a very good, a side that was well up for it. At their ground. The crowd, the players kicking it. We were just getting lumps kicked out of. And Steve says to the Bear, no, the Bear says to Steve, you make a good point. My point is, if the head coach tactics are all over the shop, we will be in trouble regardless. But he got to, Bear, have a look at the first 2 games. And it's only like I said, we 2-0 up against Bournemouth, and Bournemouth sold off their best players. And we just stood back and let them come at us. Until Federico came on. I've just had a text saying Isak is signing. Just had a text through. But I like to see him at Anfield with my own eyes before I take any notice. I think we've all come to, we're a bit apprehensive, aren't we, after all what's been going on. And I'm talking about over the years. And QT says, hopefully, but to there, Steve, hopefully, but Kanate is a fish out of water in this new start. That's a good point there, actually. That's a very good point. Do you think he's trying to accommodate the midfield, by the way? And Kerkez and Frimpong. And that's the style. That's a good shout there, actually, QT. In fact, it's a cracking shout. And Steve says, Frank, Jones is a 1 in 10 type player. One good game in 10. Takes too many touches in the wrong areas and runs with the ball into dark alley. I can't agree and I can't disagree with you. Just one of those things. And even QT agrees more or less. That's what gets me about him. When he runs with the ball, I think he's brilliant. And he looks for opportunities. And he does. His passing strength is unbelievable. And that's what you're not taking into consideration. But to me, his weakness is when he holds on to the ball and tries to turn, a little swear. He gets away with it a few times. But he always gets caught with it. And Steve says, Kanate to QT, Kanate body is in LFC, his mind is in Madrid. Sell him and bring me Incapi and Gay to rotate with Virgil and Leone as 4th choice backup. I'd love that, to be honest, Steve. I would love that to happen, but it won't happen. Unfortunately, I'd love to say it would. Believe me, I would love to see it happen. And as QT says to Steve, that'll be a dream. Jones stops the flow of our attack by taking too many unnecessary touches on the ball, says Steve to QT. If Jones plays 2 or 3 touch, he would improve greatly and he should shoot more often. He was unlucky. It was just unlucky against Newcastle. Mo put a fantastic ball, but it was just behind him, and he was going at speed, by the way, and he just couldn't get his. But went past him. Just couldn't. And Steve, Frank, how good was our build-up to play? Us to play to Ekatike goal, and our 1-2 touch foot he killed Newcastle for our team. That's what I'm saying. That's the way we can play. We can, and you know it, I know it, and everybody else knows it. And we can play like that, and it did destroy them for Rio's goal. You won't find a better dummy by any player in the world than what Szoboszlai did. 2-touch foot, he killed Newcastle for our third goal. Under Buddy and a slot said only time we played football during the game. There's my lovely girl going. I'll be back to you, boys. Ciao, Franco, chat. Sorry, late. Being in hospital, I'll catch up tomorrow. Have a lovely night. You've been in hospital? Bella? Bella? God, blimey. I hate our people going to Aussie, you know. I hate them being ill. 2-touch footy, yeah. The king. I agree, Steve, with the positions you name. Can't wait for Real and that snake to come to Anfield, even if he gets a game. I think Xabi will leave him out, you know. Oh, Bella, honestly, hope to see you tomorrow. At the Manly. Ciao, Bella. Ciao, Bella. Hope you're okay. I love our ladies. The king to Steve to the king. I think Madrid are going to loan out Trent this summer. We smashed them at home. We're our best at 11. But we've got to start performing, haven't we? Are we in the Caribbean? We are we? Are we playing anyone, or have we had a bye? I don't know. And according to the Blues, they're going to win the league. Blues. I don't believe in aliens and all that BS, says QT to Johan. And Steve says, Frank, there is more evidence that aliens exist than God does. Say the religion comes into it now. Hope so, stay, says the king. The bear. Hit the like button if you haven't done it yet, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Scottish. I really appreciate it. I really do. Oh, there's me, mate. Frank Law. Hello, Frank. Does anyone know how much LFC were paid by the insurance company after Jota's tragic death? Every player is considered a club business asset and are insured by the club. It's a routine practice. It is very rarely a player should die, but nevertheless, the value of the player is insured as a business asset. And no. But you know, I think what comes into that, I hope I'm wrong, by the way. I really do. I just hope I'm wrong. And I hope it's the club's respect and dignity for Diogo's widow by saying, you know, we'll honour for the next 2 years, you know, his wages, which I thought, oh, fantastic, you know. But with the insurance, I always thought, Frank, with the insurance, does that pay for it? And, you know, he could have been insured for 5 years, if you think about this. He could have been insured for 5 years, you know, like retention of insuring players. And he could have been running down the last, like, 2 years of the insurance, like the club's insurance for him. And his 2 years could have been up. Hence, the 2 years they've given the widow. Ruta. See what I mean? But I hope I'm wrong on that. I hope it is a gesture of, I don't like saying goodwill, but respect to the widow of that lovely man, great player, Jota Slaughter. Steve to the King. Everton interested in taking T on loan from Madrid. How might the player, how the mighty player has fallen. That was about Isak against Burnley. And Steve says, Frank Palace are through to the next rounds of Europa. That should mean we can get Guy deal done now. And QT. Frank, have you seen the siege of Jeddah? My uncle was one of those guys to receive. Go away. Go away. I haven't seen it, no. No. Thanks, Toscana, for trattamento per il cancro, says Bella. It's a Toscana. Don't you love our Italian ladies? Buonanotte, Franco, Toscana, and everyone, says that beautiful lady, Bella. Cara mia bella, io te amore. And Steve says, Frank, would you like Semenyo at Anfield for 65 million? We're getting his sack. We've got Ekatike. But I understand about a wingy, I mean. I don't know where he plays, I mean. And he has a great game against us. I remember Nunes having a great game against us, 2 games. And the big egg bought him. And the King says, yes, Steve, I would. Frank, I know a few dummies. I know a few dummies myself, believe me. Southampton at home, Frank. Yeah, I brought my granddaughter to that. That was the last match I went, you know. It killed me to go. And I was on, you know, that he's a cracking lad, Alex Gilday. And they called me over. You remember Mario? They said, Frank, will you appear? Outside the pub, you know, after the game. So I appeared. Lovely fellas. Really. I tried to catch them, you know. Can't go fucking live. Mad, isn't it? And Francine, my daughter, said, Daddy, have you paid the premium? I said, yeah. I said, look, so show her the premium. Premium holder. Because I fucking pay for it. You don't know advertisements because I hate advertisements. Oh, I'm sorry, King. Thank you, sir. Oh, thank you, boys. We have Southampton at home. It's like last season, wasn't it? And we played the kids, didn't we? And there was a little bit of my granddaughter. Do you know what she said to me? She said, I was in the main stand. It was a brilliant spec, by the way. And I'm shouting, sitting there with my cap on because it was raining. And I was shouting. And she said to me, Grandad, why are you shouting? I said, well, that's what you do. You shout at the referee and the linesman and at their place. And she just looked at me as wide awake. What's he on about? And because where I was, it was dead quiet. You know, in the main stand, no one was shouting. She said, none of these shout. I said, I know. I said, but that's your granddad. Like shout. And she's made up for a shirt because I bought her a shirt, you know, the new one. And with a TK on her back. Listen, boys and girls. That's a lovely, I'm going to end on this with QT to Bella. Hope you're okay. God bless. That's lovely, that, because she mentioned she'd been in the hospital. It's unlike any of us being, the bear and a few of us have been not too good. And on that wonderful note, what QT said to Bella, I've been on for nearly 3 hours. And on that note, I'm going to thank Gap Painting Services, this wonderful company, sponsoring the Frank Carlyle show. And as I said, the fully time served, fully insured. If you're an NHS worker and an elderly, you get special discounts. You really do. Get them in, don't struggle. And if you don't fit into the categories, they still are very reasonable. Get them in, don't struggle. Please don't struggle. And if you're up at the ground on Sunday, get to see them. Get all your gear there. It's quality stuff. That scarf or a badge. That scarf or a badge. Brilliant deal. You might see me sometimes wearing the t-shirt. I just threw this on tonight. I haven't woken up. Oh, I'm tired now, actually. And even the King says, hope you're okay, Bella. Thanks, King. And the QT. Have a blessed one, Frank, until we meet again. Well, thank you, QT. Really appreciate that. I really do. And I've got to thank Jason for putting everything together. Most importantly, I'm thanking you. Because without you, there'd be no pods. You're the important people, not me. You are the important people. And this great man, the mother from another, honest, the brother from another mother. Great fella. Thank you, Frank and Legends in the chat, for another great show. Bella, we're all praying for you. Get well soon, Legend. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that beautiful? Mille grazie. And on that wonderful note, thank you, people. I've got tomorrow night. I've got about Operation Paperclip and also about Jack the Ripper. If you think you know about the Ripper, you don't. Unless you've seen one of my lectures. And then you do know. Just see us tomorrow. Mille grazie. Ciao. Ciao bella. Tutti. A tutti.